Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you this morning? Welcome to the Royal Theatre. Welcome for the Captain's Corner. My name is Eric. I'm your cruise director. We're about to have the chat with our captain and our hotel director. It's going to be very simple how it's going to work. Whenever you are ready for the questions, just raise your hand. You can see that Mabed and Rob are already here. So they are going to meet you, and then you will say your name, where you're from, what's your question, and then we will start the conversation. To make it fair for everybody, it's going to be one port side, one starboard side, and we're going to divide this in the middle. So we're going to have a chance, everybody. Yes, it's going to be like that, but we're going to have to it one-on-one, so everybody will have the chance to pop the question. So let's start the conversation, and no more words for me, but please welcome to the stage the master of the vessel, Captain Ante. And as well, our hotel director, Peter. Thank you so much. Well, before we start, Captain, do you want to introduce yourself?
All right, a very good morning and welcome. I think, Peter, this is the biggest audience we had for a long time.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, glad to see that. Well, my name is Ante and I'm from Sweden. And I have the pleasure to be the captain on board. And a little bit about my background. I started sailing about 25 years ago and joined Royal Caribbean about 20 years ago on a huge ship called the Nordic Empress, or Empress of the Seas. It's about the size of our lifeboat. And I joined as a second officer and worked my way up, and eventually was promoted 8 years ago to captain. And my first ship was the Grandeur of the Seas as a captain, and then Brilliance of the Seas and Freedom of the Seas. And I've been on Oasis of the Seas for almost exactly a year now. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Peter.
Thank you, Rick. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Peter. I'm the hotel director. I come from a small country in Eastern Europe called Bulgaria. And I had the privilege to meet Captain Ante quite a few years ago. I also started with the company 20 years ago. Yeah, 2004, January, on board the Adventure of the Seas. My first position was at guest services officer. And then, then we met with Captain. Then we were selected to do this training in Miami for high-performing leaders. It was, well, many years ago, maybe over 12, 13 years. Yeah, so we met there in FIU, right? It was a great experience, by the way. And then we got promoted at the same time. When he got promoted as a captain, I got promoted to hotel director. I was part of the opening of these ships, Waste and Allure, 2009 and 10. And then we're meeting kind of every now and then, whether on the conferences or on the PRA. How are you doing? Well done. I mean, from safety, staff captain, and then captain, and I was moving along. And by the way, Captain, where are your socks? Okay, this is, So this was gifted to all of the hotel directors and captains and chief engineers on board Icon of the Seas. We got 2 pairs each. So I don't know where are yours. And
I'm washing my socks every now and then.
Every Sunday, right? So I can give you a laundry voucher, by the way. And it's been a great career, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very, very exciting career. 20 years already. It was like yesterday. So Eric, what about you? When did you start?
I started 7 years ago.
Can you leave the stage, please?
I will.
Yeah.
I will do the voiceover.
Minimum 20 here, my friend. Minimum 20.
But I started 7 years ago, and my first ship was Adventure of the Seas. And I joined the ship as a crew staff. I was one of the activities team, and I joined the trivias. I was being the host, then I become activities manager, and now I'm cruise director. Very happy to be here as well. So thank you so much, Peter. Thank you, Captain. Now, thank you. If we are ready with the questions, just raise your hand, and the team is going around. Oh, we have the first one in the port side with Rob.
Could you just talk to us about the lifeboats, the type of motor, gas, diesel, electric, single or twin, and how often they're tested?
So they are fitted with 2 diesel engines, and it has 2 propellers, and I don't know exactly how many horsepowers, but it should be around 300 horsepowers each. So 2 propellers, and the capacity is way bigger than most of the ships. The normal size, that we actually don't call them live boats, we call them rescue vessels, because a live boat can hold maximum of 150 people inside. So since we got the permission from our class society, we can call them live boats, so it's actually a rescue vessel, yeah. And how often we test them? Once a week, actually. Obviously, not during the crossing, but every time we have a crew drill. Most of the time, the crew is either on the port or starboard side involved in a weekly drill, and sometimes we have all crew drill with all crew members. And if we are not testing the live boat during that drill, then during the week, one of the sailors or a few of the sailors are dipping down one by one and testing it.
Thank you, Captain. We have another question, starboard side.
Yeah, Fred Abel from Mount Dora, Florida. We've had 2 emergency evacuations so far, and I'm curious, are those evacuations charged to the person that is evacuated, or what you would consider extra fuel consumption cost and so forth for getting them to Bermuda or to the Azores or whatever?
No, it's not charged to the person. I'm the one picking up the bill personally. Now, the cost of that, it's quite a lot of money. We are consuming, that's the biggest expense the ship has, is fuel consumption. But then anytime we have an emergency, that is not even part of the equation. It will cost what it costs, and that's it. And it's not charged to the person. Usually, if the person needs to be airlifted, usually that goes if you have an insurance and so on. But if the Coast Guard or sometimes the US Navy are assisting us, it's anytime it's a government agency, the government picks up the bill, yeah. But the fuel cost, it's the company take that cost. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Captain. We have another question in the starboard side in the middle section.
Hi, my name is Mel. I'm from Miami, and I had a question about why is it that we are changing the time forward at 2 p.m. in the afternoon as opposed to 2 a.m. in the night when everybody's asleep?
Yeah, thank you, sir. I mean, there's a question and a conversation with the guests, okay, that we get every crossing. Then on the way back, then you're adding sleep during the night, then you're adding time to the sleep. But people to lose 6-7 consecutive hours of sleep, it's really not a good decision. And we have tried during the night, we have tried at 12 noon, we have tried at 2 p.m. And okay, 2 p.m. ended being the most adequate decision. Keep in mind that for the crew, also it's very, very hard if you're going to take 6-7 hours of their rest during the night. There is a compelling argument that you're also taking some of the afternoon rest. Yes, it is. So it's not easy on our crew, trust me on that. But 2 p.m. has been the most adequate that we have done so far. And all the ships we have adapted pretty much all the same time. During the night is not an option, no, to take 6-7 consecutive hours of sleep. It's a bad idea, sir. That's not something that we're going to entertain. On the way back to the States, yes, absolutely. We're adding hours during the night so people get longer rest.
Thank you so much. We have one question over here.
Hi, James from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, right in the center of Canada, as landlocked as you can get. I have a question in regards to porting. I was under the impression that there might be tugboats involved and stuff like that, but I understand from the navigation here, Captain, yesterday, that there's actually pods underneath the ship that have the motors and the propellers. And do you use tugboats at all when you're porting? And how many ports in the world are you qualified to port at?
Okay, so my license, I can dock in any port. So there's no limitation in which ports I can and cannot dock the ship. And you're absolutely right about the propulsion. So we don't have this conventional propulsion where you have a propeller on a shaft. So we have 3 azipods, and it looks like 3 giant outboard engines that sticks down in the water, and they can spin 360 degrees. In addition to that, we have 4 bow thrusters, and each bow thruster has a power of 7,500 horsepower, and that is equal to one of the largest tugboats. So I basically already have my own 4 tugboats on the bow, and the propellers they deliver a power of 10 megawatts each. 10 megawatts, that's 10,000 kilowatts. In horsepower, that would be 16,000 horsepower each during the maneuver. So normally I don't need a tugboat, but in some ports, if it's really, really windy, I can ask for tugboats. And of course that's another cost, but I never even consider the cost. So safety is always #1 priority, and it can cost whatever it will. And I don't see the bill, so I don't even have a clue how much it costs.
Thank you so much, Captain. We have another one in the starboard side over there.
John Crowley from North Carolina. A question on the course. This is my 8th Transatlantic. And aside from like the Queen Mary, which just does Southampton to New York in a quick shot, every other one has stayed south all the way across. You know, we'll hit Tenerife or Madeira and just go that way, or Miami to Tenerife, and then north to Southampton or wherever we're going to go, and it's warm. And I noticed we went northeast from right out of the dock, and it's been cold. I went by the pool today, there was 1 person in the pool, and everybody's inside, which makes things awfully crowded inside. So I understand distance and fuel, but are there other reasons to steer a northerly course on the Transatlantic? Thank you.
Answer to that question, no. There is no other reason. That's the shortest point, between 2 points, the shortest route on the globe is a great circle, which means that it goes like in an arc. And as a professional sailor, it would make no sense to go down to the equator and then back up again just to get some warm. And unfortunately, the weather has been very cold. Normally, it shouldn't be cold. The Azores, for example, has a temperature of around 24 degrees all year round, and that would be in Fahrenheit around 72 or something like that. So it's quite nice climate. However, yesterday when we transported the patient ashore, I looked at the thermometer on the bridge and it was showing 14 degrees. So it's unusually cold. And same thing back home. It's end of April, and I had like -2 degrees back home. It should be like peak spring now. So, but it's going to get warmer next week already. So it's a cold front that is passing through the whole northern hemisphere. And I know I'm moving actually down to Croatia, and it should be almost summer there. And it was like 13 degrees, the same thing. So that's unfortunate. I can't do much about the weather, but I'm taking always the shortest route, but always keep in mind so that it's the most comfortable route as well. And I knew if I took that going north of Bermuda, I will only have a little bit of wind the first 2 days, and then for the rest of the crossing, it's been smooth like this. Further south, you have always more wind. That's the area where the trade winds are. And yeah, it could have been a little bit more warmer, but the ship could also have rolled a little bit more. So what do you do?
Yeah, Captain, actually, what to build on that, and thank you for the question, sir. It's reasonable. We did a bit southern course on Symphony last year. The weather was way worse, and the sea condition was not pleasant throughout all the crossing. So this was absolutely the right decision. And okay, we discussed before water crossing as well. Yeah, indeed, it's a cold front. I was checking Cadiz. Yeah, Cadiz last week was 30 Celsius. Now it's 18. So it's a cold front in the area. But our sea conditions for crossing have been the best that I have seen. To be honest with you, 2 crossings on Symphony last year wasn't a pleasant sea condition. It was just enough to make you comfortable. So yeah, so this has been a great crossing.
Thank you, Captain Peter. We have another question in port side.
I'm Sandy from Sebastian, Florida, and I just have a question regarding the evacuations, no matter where they are. For as long as you were going pedals to the metal, what kind of wear and tear does that take on the engines?
Actually, no difference, since we have 6 engines, and if the required speed is really low, which we have in between some ports, but it's only 10 knots, then I use only 2 engines, and the engines are always on 70–80% load. And if I need more speed, I just fire up 1 more engine, and so all 6 engines were running on the maximum load, which is around 75%. So that they're not wearing and tearing more than a lower speed. It's just that I have to use all of them. And there's a scheduled maintenance that goes, I don't know, chief engineer would answer that better, but like every 2 years, every engine needs to be overhauled completely. And so that's already scheduled, so it doesn't matter if I use them more or less.
Thank you, Captain. We have another question on the starboard side.
Hello, Harvey from Napoli, Florida. And just a quick caveat, I was on the ship 2 years ago, the Oasis, and we pulled into port in the Bahamas, in Nassau, and we pulled next to a fairly large Carnival Cruise Line ship. And the captain came out on the bridge and said, "Could you please move that ship? You're blocking the sun." My question is, when you fill up, first of all, how much fuel do you carry? And when you fill up, do you hand them a credit card or pay cash? Or how does it work?
Yeah, it's the same like when you fill up your car. You go to a gas station, put the hose in one of the holes that you see on the ship side. So we fill up the previous itinerary every time the ship is in Miami or doing the turnaround. We order approximately 1,200 metric tons. I forgot how to convert that in gallons again, but it's a couple of million. So it's a lot. And then of course, during the crossing, we filled up all the tanks to the rim, and including other small tanks that is called like overflow tanks, like when you transfer from one tank to another, if you forgot to press the stop button, it goes into an overflow. Even those were filled to the rim. And so we had about 5,000 metric tons of fuel. So that is enough to do the crossing, and we will still have remaining about 40% left in the tanks, even after we reach Barcelona. But the reason that we have more fuel is because things can happen, like we had 2 medical evacuations. Luckily they happened on the way, but we should have fuel, like I believe Odyssey, when we had a medical evacuation in Bermuda, they actually had 2. So they stopped first in Bermuda, and they are a little bit smaller, so they could go inside and dock. And by the time we were finished with our evacuation, I saw them coming back again. So you need to have extra fuel in case something like that happens. Yeah.
Thank you, Captain. We have another question in port side.
John from Canada. The ship's going to dry dock in October. what are they going to be doing to the ship during that dry dock?
And so every ship, it doesn't matter if it's a cargo ship or a passenger ship, it's scheduled. You need to go in dry dock. If it's if the ship is less than 20 years, you need to go in dry dock every 5 years. And if it's over 20 years, then it's every 3 years. So it's a scheduled maintenance, and we take the opportunity to do service on those parts that we can't access when the ship is in the water. But there will also be some, quite a lot, I think Peter would be better to answer that, the itinerary that we can do when we have all the guests on board. So there will be quite a lot of work, and I think it's going to be like 3,000 contractors coming on board.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question, sir. Then in the hotel areas, it's a local back of the house, like galleys overhaul and laundry overhaul. I mean, things that you really cannot do in service. The rest we really try not to squeeze in service. I mean, then we have overhaul of the jacuzzis now. Okay, this week, and it's gonna go for a month, because you cannot wait for 5 years to do maintenance. I mean, then you're gonna have rust all over the place. We need to paint, we need to clean, we need to overhaul. That's who loves a rusty ship? I mean, nobody. Now after 14 days of crossing, we're gonna have to do a full coating on the outside the next week because of the south, okay, that is building towards for the ship side. So this is gonna be a full painting also, and we have the team so to do that. Then on the hotel side, it's condition based. Again, I have a few teams here pretty much at all times. They're doing upholstery, doing a lot of work. This is happening in service. Dry dock, you wait for these things that you need to have an access, and there is going to be some big disturbance on everyone. So that's what you do in dry dock. The rest is done in service. Yeah, a lot of back of the house stuff that you really don't see, like laundry and stuff, and galley equipment changing.
Thank you, Captain Peter. We have another question on Star Wars side.
Joe Lane, Clearwater, Florida. We were fortunate enough to be on Oasis on the inaugural voyage. I know there are refurbishing things that are done over the course of the ship's life. What has been done since that inaugural voyage? And the reason I ask the question is, my wife and I are suggesting, you know, this seemed bigger at one time. What kind of things would have been done during a refurbishing to make the ship appear smaller?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. See, Eric have created an ambience like a Bulgarian police station here, where the light is coming straight into my eyes. Sorry, I need to. Yeah. So, 2019, the ship went through so-called amplification, the first of its kind. That's the largest dry dock ever done in the history of cruising, in the cruise industry. Was almost 2.5 months. 2.5 months out of service, happened in Cadiz, Spain, in the Vantia shipyard. I happened to be the hotel director here at that time. And we had about 5,000 plus crew and contractors that worked around the clock for 2.5 months. And we did, to be honest with you, this was considered as a new build, not as a dry dock. This was a new build. So pool deck, central part to the point, but pool deck, Royal Promenade, boardwalk were completely stripped to the bare steel and rebuilt again. So during 2019, we put the Ultimate Abyss and we built a slides or a perfect storm. We rebuilt Boleros, we rebuilt Spotlight Karaoke, all the shops on board were completely rebuilt. The dining rooms, or the 3 dining rooms, were completely rebuilt. Then we built some new staterooms, we extended the solarium. Now it's the only ship with this beautiful extension of the solarium deck, on deck 15 forward. We built a portside barbecue, we built a completely new sports court, and so on and so forth. Was a lot of work. So the next ship scheduled for amplification was Allure of the Seas 2020, and I also happened to be the hotel director there. And this famous or infamous crossing where we actually had 1 port of call, Malaga. And last year on Symphony we had 2 ports of call, and that's the first crossing in my career that I see on the Oasis class with 4 ports of call. this is great actually, and the crew is very excited about this. I hope you're excited as well. So the next ship was Allure of the Seas 2020, and we arrived to Malaga, and we're contemplating whether to let our guests off or not. We eventually let them off, and then a day later, en route to Barcelona, everything started to happen in 2020. So we couldn't do the amplification on board the Allure, and she's scheduled to do this next year. And I hope I'm going to be the hotel director there as well, just to come and spend 2 months here in Cadiz as well to amplify this beautiful ship. And yeah, so making the ship smaller, I don't know, there are no plans for this so far. I don't know if we're going to start building a smaller classes at one point or not, yeah, Allure will be amplified with the same features as the Oasis, some differences obviously here and there. We also changed the shows in 2019. Right, we moved the Ocean Area, Wastes of Dreams was moved to Aqua Edis, which is the best aqua show in my opinion that we have in the fleet. Then Come Fly With Me was changed to One Sky. Then Hairspray moved to the Symphony, and here we got Cats, and so on and so forth. We changed the entertainment lineup as well. So let's see Allure next year. Let's see what's going to be the amplification there. But it's very exciting. It's huge. It's a new built-in dry dock.
Thank you, Peter. We have another question port side in the back.
Good morning. My name's Jackie. I'm from Middle England, as far from the sea as you can get, right in the middle. I'm fascinated by Central Park and the birds and whatever else, whatever other wildlife is there. Did you introduce them? Do they just arrive? How do you stop more from coming in?
Good question, thank you. So,
They feed. What do they feed on?
yeah, let's talk about all the birds. So we have two types. One are the real birds flying in, the other one is recorded. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. it's birds, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. are crickets. Oh, trust me, I was part of the original concept of the class. So this is what it is, and now today, at 8:17, the head broadcast was in panic. The birds are not playing, the birds are not playing. There is something with there used to be an iPod behind Giovanni's that plays the birds and the crickets, but we also have live birds that flew in. You're absolutely right. And they flew in, flew out on the ports of call. It's a natural in and out, and this has been throughout all times. We have 96 trees in the Central Park, and more than 12,000 plants.
The lizards, I've actually seen small lizards, but they cannot come. They must have been.
The lizards are electronic. They're from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And they can close them from the iPad. No, we have some lizards as well. I mean, yeah, it's a park at sea. Yeah, we attract various animals and stuff. I mean, true. Sometimes, yeah, they're more dangerous animals than kidding.
What about the poison snakes that I've seen a couple of times?
When they build the ship on a takeout, they found a little snake like this. Yeah, but this was still in the yard, so I don't know where this snake came from Eric's luggage maybe. But then we haven't found anything ever since. There were at one point in 2011-12. There are a lot of birds flying in, a lot, and we're just wondering how to get rid of them. So my colleague decided to download a sound of a hawk and played it on the PA system. Didn't work at all. We had more birds flying in. So this was a very stupid decision. So far so good. We had an owl last year on Symphony. And then we had to call somebody from Shoreside, an organization, to come and pick up the owl. The owl stayed for about a month and a half. Yeah, a month and a half. And then they came and they said, guys, okay, just let it be. We're gonna come and pick him up.
Thank you, Peter. We have another question here in the starboard side front.
James from Winnipeg. Yeah, Captain, we're bound by maritime law to respond to all SOS calls. Have you ever responded to SOS calls on a cruise ship and had to redirect to facilitate a rescue?
Yes, I have. Luckily, it doesn't happen too often, but you're right about that. If I hear an SOS call, or even if I see a vessel, a ship, or a raft, and it look like they're in distress, I have to respond. There is no question about that. And during the pandemic, I was stationed on Brilliance of the Seas, and to avoid paying any port fees, I found a sea mountain in the middle of the Caribbean Sea where I dropped the anchor, and we stayed there 3 weeks, and then we just went into San Martin just to refuel and take on board food, and then back again to that anchor. And there was actually a sailboat that called up, and so I lowered one of the rescue boats and assisted. They just ran out of fuel, and there was something wrong with their sails. They couldn't use them. So then our rescue vessel came back to the ship. We gave them a couple of 100 gallons of diesel, and off they went again. I also picked up refugees from Cuba, and that's a little bit tricky, because just because they are refugees, that doesn't mean that they're in need all the time. Unfortunately, this time their vessel was falling apart. There was a shark that ate up the rudder, so they couldn't steer it anymore. And then I had a really big trouble getting them off the ship. You know, they were extremely happy being rescued. And I've personally never been to Cuba, so I really don't know how the living conditions are there. I hear that it's could be better. And when they came on board the ship, and so we gave them clothes and we fed them. They ate pizza every day, and there were men in my age, and I've never seen 8 grown men crying like that. I made an announcement on the ship. I said, it's up to you guys. This is voluntarily, but I'm going to donate $100 to these people. And there was a lot of crew members that gave them money or clothes or whatever. And I think when they left the ship, they had each about $800, if I'm correct. And one man told me that he never seen so much money in his whole life. And so you can just imagine how the living conditions are there. However, so next port, I picked them up somewhere in between, I think it was in the Florida Strait somewhere. My next port was, is here, I think it was Grand Cayman. And so I told the authorities I picked up refugees from the sea, and I would like to hand them over to you. And they said, no, we don't take any refugees. But you have to. No, we don't have to. The next port was Jamaica, same thing there. So I called the office, and at that time our senior Marine director was a retired Coast Guard general. I don't know if you remember him, Bill Baumgartner.
Yeah, Baumgartner.
So he told me, don't tell next port you go that you have refugees. You say that you picked up, people from a shipwreck. They're shipwrecked. Don't mention what nationality. Do you have their passport? I said, no. Well, then you don't know where they're from. So then I came to Mexico and said, I have 8 people. They were shipwrecked, and I rescued them, so I'm going to hand them over to you. Oh, well, they're not refugees? I don't know. They never claim anything to me.
I actually, talking about this, thank you, Captain. Now I'm remembering a very interesting story. One of my most interesting. With the staff captain that is on board, Staff Captain Joshko, very tall, handsome gentleman from Croatia. He comes in all the chats with an officer that we have every other day by Starbucks. So one day we're on board Jewel of the Seas. Captain was Captain Dustin, Joshko was staff captain, I was hotel director. So we received a distress signal, and ended up being between Martinique and some other of the French islands. So an elderly couple, recreational sailors, you know what this means, right? That they live on their boat. So the gentleman, the gentleman obviously is suspicious of a heart attack or cardiac arrest, or failure. Yeah, failure of the engine failure. So we're launching the live boat. the rescue boat, and we go and check. And the engine failed, and they don't have the knowledge how to sell sails. So then we contacted the French Coast Guard, and they said, okay, pick them on board, they need to leave the boat. Fair enough, but the couple refuses to leave the boat. They said, no, that's our home. We're not leaving the boat. Then the Coast Guard goes, well, then you carry on. They refuse help, then you leave them. I'm not going to leave these people here in the middle of the ocean. So we reached our company, obviously, and then the captain back then took a decision. We said, okay, let's see if we can land one engineer and two sailors, somebody who can sail the boat on sails. And we took care of this couple. And with staff captain Josh, he said, look, I can sail. And he asked the bridge team back then, and one of the cadets goes, yeah, I'm the Croatia champion of sailing, okay, whatever, regatta, okay, come with me. So staff captain, one of the deck cadets, and one engineer, they went on a boat. They sailed the boat to the next port of call, which was day and a half, and they repaired the engine in the meantime for the elderly couple. And when you see Joshko, I'll never forget this case. Just give him a pat on the back. This was amazing. This was really amazing.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Captain. We have another question for Simon.
Yes, John Harvard from Alabama. Question for Captain, or maybe, was it Pete?
Peter.
I'm sorry. We've been sailing on Oasis since 2016. And during that time, we would watch cats. Okay. We also sailed during pandemic, and cats were shortened, everything. But I guess my question to that is, when are we going to get a new Broadway show?
Cat shortened during the amplification, sir. This is the first time, because Cats was with the intermission. So second part, half were asleep or nobody was here. So, and from Broadway, from the producers, they gave us permission to shorten it and make it more adequate for a cruise experience. And then, because it's very difficult to change a Broadway show, sir, it's almost impossible. And then now we have the Wizard of Oz on Icon, right? And then then any new plans, and look what a company will never review with us, with the shipboard teams, what are the plans for entertainment and new shows. This is going to be released last minute as a wow thing. I mean, even for the Wizard of Oz, we really didn't know until the very end that this is going to be exactly the show. Eric, something on your end?
No, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of conversations about which one is going to be the entertainment on board the Oasis ships. And yeah, to change a Broadway show on a ship needs to be the right amount of time, because the ships and the Broadway shows are built for the ship. So to have cats on board, it took 3 hours to get the set on. And it takes 2 hours to strike down the set. So that means that all the props and everything that we have on board, it was built to fit the Oasis of the Seas. So the decision to change a Broadway show has to come with a dry dock, has to come with the rights of any other Broadway show, has to come with the right on a new Oasis ship, so they can just swap the shows. And this ship, as Peter mentioned, had a hairspray. So basically, Hairspray just went to another ship, and then Oasis received Cats. So that's the main reason why Cats, instead of be taken away, it was like a revised, because it's a partnership as well with Andrew Lloyd Webber. So he was the one that actually came over here, do all the install, and then do the revised version for the 90 minutes Cats. So that's the reason. Like, conversations has been taken with the office as well, but as it is right now, Oasis will be held Cats for the next dry dock as well. But that's the main reason, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, the other show that we have changed on the Oasis class was Laura. Remember that we started with Chicago, and
yeah.
Then we got Mamma Mia there. But no other changes really on the Oasis class. It's some massive thing. But yeah, there. Okay, let's see. Allure amplification now. Definitely, they're going to phase out the ocean area, the aqua show on Allure, and change it with I don't know, with something new.
Something new.
Yeah, something new, and same with the theater shows.
Thank you. We have another question over here in the starboard side.
Hi, Hugh from Eindhoven in the Netherlands. I have a question for the captain. With airline pilots, they need to train specific types of airlines and take tests and pass them. How do you go from the smaller ships in the fleet to such a large ship as this? Do you need to go through special training?
So actually my best friend, he's an airline captain, and we discussed this since there's a lot of similarity with the industry. However, my license is valid for any type of ship, any class of cruise ship, any cargo ship. I don't need any additional training or license to be able to be the captain there. However, every ship is unique, and when we change ship to a different class, and then I usually stay with the previous captain for a week or a couple of weeks, depending a little bit on what kind of itinerary we have and if I've been to a similar class. So I get, and it's up to me. I can tell the office I would like to have 3 weeks together with the other captain, and then we have enough time to go through all the equipment, all the ports and everything. So the company supports me whatever I want, and if I say that I need only 1 week or I need 3 weeks, I will get that, yeah.
Thank you, Captain.
Yes, this is very similar, Captain, to the rest of the positions within hotel deck and engine. The management, yeah, especially with the senior managers and the technical positions, they go through very extended handover before they join the Oasis class, because it's all different. Now Icon class, so yeah, it does take time. In every, let's say, 3-stripe and above position does require a particular set of knowledge.
Thank you. We are just about to wrap up, so we have time for 2 more questions, one in the port, one in the starboard side. So we go to the port side question. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Eric Mann from Aventura, Florida. Question I have is, you're on vacation 24/7. Someone's driving the ship. You both are up there now, so there's someone handling it. Do you have engineers like planes where they map out your trip and you hit a button and it just goes, or you have to get behind the wheel and start steering? That's one question. The other one is, obviously you get paid very well for doing what you're doing. Do they give you stock options, or do you get, how does that work? I mean, your stock has got up 5x in the last year, so it's been pretty good for you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to answer those questions. So Peter, apparently we're on vacation 24/7.
Absolutely. That's why I'm wearing my socks here. You know, we just sit and talk and have a coffee every now and then, and Eric does the job usually, so yeah.
But well, the salary, I'm not going to disclose my personal salary, but you know, I'm here, so I'm happy with the salary. If I wasn't, I would be somewhere else. When I'm here, of course, the ship is still sailing, and so the bridge has never been empty since the ship was built. So it's always somebody up there, day and night, and even when we are in port, because all the major alarms and equipment is centralized up on the bridge. So they need to be there to acknowledge the alarm and dispatch people, could be security or somebody else, to take care of the issue. And when we are at sea, there is 2 officers, 1 second officer and 1 first officer, and the first officer is in charge of the watch of the bridge while I'm not there. And when I come up on the bridge, I have to inform them that, okay, I am in command now, otherwise they are in command. And so we have 3 first officers, 3 second officers, and they do 8 hours each, so they cover the whole hour. And in addition to that, we also have 3 quartermasters. Sir, do you know what a quartermaster is? No? So I'm the ship's master. I'm the captain of the vessel. I'm a full-grown man. A quartermaster is usually from Philippines. They're a little bit shorter.
Yeah, about the stock options, yes sir, we have an employee stock purchasing program that is available to each and every employee, and it comes with a certain benefits indeed, as every big brand outside the corporation, I believe, and we're given the option, goes to HR center, we fill out a form, so on and so forth. And yes, we have good times now, but we have difficult times as well. So, like with every investment that you put your money, and then, yeah, here the benefit is that you can put your efforts and energy towards the success of this company. And when you go around, when you talk to crew members, you know the average tenure of a Royal Caribbean employee, it's huge. So it's people around 10 plus years. I mean, on the stateroom attendants, waiters, bar staff, and pretty much everybody out there. It's a lot of people that have built their living, and they raise their kids and put them through school and build their homes and the households, thanks to the company. So the loyalty and the tenure is huge. I mean, then I'm sure that you talk to your folks out there, in the dining rooms and so on. They're 10 plus years, 15 plus years. The other day we recognized one of our stateroom attendants on an employee at the monthly employee recognition ceremony, 35 years for the brand, 35 years. A lot of, we have more than 10, 15 people every month that are 25 plus years that we recognize. So yeah, the company has been great, to be honest with you. Not that we're wearing these uniforms and stuff, we obviously believe in that, and yeah, then we're here to support the company and our crew, make sure that our guests have a good time, and we will make mistakes, of course, if you were the human beings. It's a massive operation with hundreds of thousands of interactions on a daily basis. But we're definitely doing our best.
Thank you, Peter. And we have the last question over here on the starboard side.
Yeah, Fred from Florida again. Just one comment. Your crew has been absolutely fabulous. I have never seen the service.
Thank you.
Now, the previous cruise we did was on a ship with 1,250 people. Now we're on a ship with 6,600 plus crew. I don't know how many that is, but I walk the decks and I see these restaurants and I see these bars and I see the people and I say, how many tons of food and booze does it take for this ship?
Yeah, lots, sir. We actually have about 5,400 guests and about 2,200 crew this sailing. I mean, food a lot. By the way, we're going to continue with a few more questions, ladies and gentlemen. We really enjoyed the conversation with you, and we're going to extend that. And then I'm going to stay after the end with Eric upon the exit, just want to answer some more questions. We actually did try to talk to you on the top tier. It just started to rain, so now it's a good opportunity. So just the eggs, it's 90,000 per week. Just the eggs, 90,000 eggs per week is what it is. And the rest, it's a lot. I mean, then I believe that you have the info sheets, and there is some info about that. But it's a lot of huge logistics indeed. 54 trucks usually on a regular loading day.
Thank you, Peter. We have two questions over here. One in the
middle. We have the gentleman waiting here for a while. Rob. Yeah, the mic is coming, sir.
My name's Drew. We're from Blowing Rock, North Carolina. Unlike the gentleman from Alabama, we'd like to see cats just once. I'm sure that, I don't know what the seating capacity of the theater is. I'm sure it's significant. But how we are told that sometimes if you go to the event after the people are seated, there may be seats available. But just wondering, what is the seating capacity of the theater? What is the seating capacity of the theater?
Oh, which one is the best seat on the theater?
No.
Oh, the seating capacity is 1,300. 1,300 for the theater, so 1,300. So and that actually answer another question that I have been asked along the cruise, why our shows are the same 3 times. And that's the reason why. So we have, as it is right now, a capacity of more than 6,000 people when we have a full capacity. So the theater cannot hold everybody at the same time. So we need to offer the same show 3 times at least, so everybody has the chance to enjoy the shows. That's the reason why our headliners are doing one day 2 shows and the next day 1 show. So we have a rotation, and then you can choose. Well, tonight I'm going to have a dinner, and then I'm going to have the specialty restaurant, go to the party, go to a game show. Tomorrow I will watch a show. So that's how it works. And we do have the standby zone, which basically is every time that we have a show that needs a reservation, you have to do it through the Royal app, or maybe you did it before you come on board, right? So then you have the reservation. So we have at 10 minutes before the show, all the reservations are expired, and we open the line for everybody. So if we have a few seats available, everybody can join and watch the show. So that's how it works. And in case you do not have a reservation, of course, we can work it around so you can have the chance to work and see the show. So we try to accommodate everybody to have the entertainment on board.
Actually, well, for this crossing, I want to share an interesting point. When we planned the crossing with Eric for the first time, we didn't have enough days to execute everything that we have on hand. Yeah, first we have built a matinee every afternoon. Okay, there is something happening here, and this is not only because of the weather and stuff, but on every crossing we try to do that. Lectures are in the morning, then in the afternoon, then we definitely have a matinee. But we had so many entertainment. I mean, we have so much stuff. Every entertainer that is on board, they're required to come with a second show, and if need be. But we run out of days. So, Captain, maybe we can go around a couple of days. Yeah, that's it. Just to put a few more shows. Yeah, because everybody. Ron Lucas has another one. The hypnosis guy has another material, and then at the same time you want to do the crew talent show, and we did the cabaret show, which was phenomenal. And then with the cats, with with our stars and the big band. I mean, look, Oasis class, what Oasis class offers, sir, it's, I mean, there is no comparison. What these ships can offer, there is absolutely no comparison. As far as live music and entertainment, there is no comparison out there. Icon class, yeah, no one else.
Thank you, Peter. We have a question over here, Mabel, in the middle, yes.
By the way, we allow up to 2 questions per person. We charge from the 3rd one. So we have Winnipeg here almost you're getting current 3rd questions as well. I monitor that thing.
Hi, my name is Ellen, and I'm from Orlando. My question is about your laundry service for us personally. We've heard some good things and some bad things about how we put our stuff in the bag and how it gets processed and how hot it gets dried. And I would also like to know what you call dry cleaning. Is it the conventional dry cleaning that we know in the States, or is it, what does that all mean?
Well, never had this question about the laundry. I need to get the executive housekeeper here next time. I mean, that's this is an industrial laundry. Yeah, this is an industrial laundry, and to be honest with you, what I call dry cleaning. Wait for me after the show, and then we're going to ask the executive housekeeper for details on that. What I call dry cleaning. I don't know, what the same thing that I call it home, I guess. And how? Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Wait for me. I'll be happy to answer all the questions.
Thank you so much. We have another question all the way in the back.
Good morning. My name is Helen. I'm from Cuba. So I want to congratulate you. It was very emotional to hear your anecdote. Now my question is as to the hotel director. I'm a foodie, just like my hubby. Tell us a little bit about the kitchen, about how you make the menus and anything besides what they already told us there.
Thank you, with pleasure. This, I don't know if a lot of people know, but this is the largest culinary operation at sea that is self-sufficient. Now, obviously, the Icon class now is going to be a little bit bigger. But we have about 330 cooks and chefs and galley utilities that produce around over 60,000 portions of meal every single day. So the largest self-sufficient culinary operation, let's say you have a bigger hotels on land, but they have a lot of their food venues outsourced. And for us, everything is in-house. The operation is very intense, it's very well coordinated. It's led by the executive chef, okay, Mr. Nicolas from Canada, half Canadian, half Italian. So when you see him around, give him a pat on the back. And the menus are designed based on region. For instance, now we're going to European deployment. So for the second half of this crossing, this transatlantic voyage, the first half of the transatlantic, then we stayed with the menus that we have in the Caribbean, and the second half we're already testing the menus that we're going to have in the Mediterranean. So you're going to see some changes. We also did this to amplify your experience as well, to see something different. Let's say for the Windjammer, I mean, we have a set menus for all the cruises going in the Nordics, all the cruises sailing out of UK, the cruises sailing in Europe, cruises in Asia, cruises in North America. And this is same for the dining room and some of the other venues. Specialty restaurants don't really change unless the China deployed ships, they have some changes there. But it's all based on demographic, it's a lot of planning. Demographic, okay, preferences. Now let's take this European season. 48 to 50% of our guests will be still from the United States. So we cannot go to a full immersive product. We need to account for these preferences as well. Then we have 700-800 guests from the UK on a weekly basis. We want to ensure that they're going to find their English bacon and the tea and stuff and everything cooking that is out there for them. And same goes with the Spanish guests. We're going to have 700-800 every week from Spain. We're going to have people from Israel, from Middle East. Then you have kosher, halal food. It's a very complex process, very, very complex. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of coordination. And it's very much driven by our culinary operation shoreside. And then we take the account of the itinerary of the ship and the demographics, and then we roll a set of menus. You also cannot just go and change menu just like that, because it's related to supply chain. And the supply chain is huge, and we just cannot buy food from Rob in Cadiz tomorrow just like that. We buy food from reliable and approved contractors. And this is also something that is everything accounted for. To build a menu, you need supply, you need cost, you need sustainability, and so on and so forth. So, but if you have any further questions, again, more in details, I'll be happy to answer them when you exit the theater.
Thank you. We have another question in the starboard side.
I promise this will be my last question. This question can affect every single person in this audience and every single passenger on this ship. It concerns what's affectionately known as pier runners. Last week, an NCL cruise ship left the port, and 8 people who had taken a private tour didn't make it back to the ship, and got on a small little boat, went out to the ship, and the captain refused to let them on. So they went back to shore, and then they had a nightmare after that, and it's been publicized. It's been real bad press for NCL. My question is, with 4 ports coming up in the next 4 days, what is your policy for pier runners?
Well, it happens, unfortunately, sometimes. Luckily, it's very rare. I don't, since I've been on Oasis, I've never left anybody behind. But it's, we don't really have a policy in the company, but it's driven by the required speed to the next port. If for example, I'm leaving one port and to reach the next one is 17 knots, same as we're doing now, I can wait for up to an hour, and it's not going to increase the required speed very much. But if the required speed is already high, like I know that when we will sail in the next itinerary here from La Spezia to Civitavecchia in Italy, I'm basically going full speed. So if I don't leave on time, I won't arrive on time either. And that's a very busy port, and we already have a pilot time that is scheduled. If I'm not make it that time, I will be put last in line. So that means I might arrive like by noon to the next port, because I lost my pilot time. So that is how I decide how long I can wait for somebody. In any case, if somebody's left behind, we have an agent in every port. And once the person arrives to the port, and see there's no ship there, the agent will take care of them. You know, they will arrange for hotels and airline tickets and so on. But at high speed, when I need to run all 6 engines, so every engine consumes about 2 metric tons of fuel every hour. That's a lot. So let's say the required speed required me to have 5 engines online, and that is on the limit. And if I wait for half an hour, I might need to start the 6th engine. So then it becomes a question, wouldn't it be cheaper to, once the person arrives to the port, just to fly him or her to the next port, than to run an extra engine for 12 hours? And that is like $1,000, let's say $2,000 every hour extra. And I think you can buy, you know, a first class seat for that money.
Just to build on this, because it's a complex question with a multi-layer answer, sir. Then we take a few other items under consideration. First, if you're part of the Royal Caribbean organized excursion, we wait. Second, if people are missing, let's say, first, very important for you to leave your emergency contact numbers. We start calling right away. Then it's important, okay, for you to carry your compass or through the Royal app. Then our port agency info in every port of call is there, so you can give them a call right away. We consider if there are minors involved or not. I mean, let's say, kids are in Adventure Ocean and stuff, cannot leave. There are a lot of things what to be considered there in this scenario. And in Europe, actually, more often than any other port, you have people kind of late because of the train in Rome or whatever. That's a careful consideration that we're taking. However, the most beautiful picture from the pier is when the ship sails. So then you can take a great photo there. So, I don't know why you're asking that. Just be careful, especially in Europe. In Caribbean, very, very rare. But in Europe, yes, you got stuck in Rome in traffic and stuff, so you gotta plan your time well. Yeah, these ports here are easy. These 4 Spanish ports are very easy. You're not gonna have problems here.
Thank you, Peter. Now we have questions. Time for 2 more questions. One over here and one over there.
Leanna Steinecker from Utah. I want to know when we go through the Strait of Gibraltar, how deep it is, and if it's in the middle of the night, we won't be able to see anything.
You caught me now. I actually haven't looked what time we will go through the Strait of Gibraltar, but Cadiz is on this side of Gibraltar, so we will reach Cadiz first, and then after, so we are leaving Cadiz sometimes in the, what is it, Peter, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, yeah.
So it's going to happen during the night, but exactly what hour, I haven't checked that yet.
Captain, I had a question from a guest yesterday, and I called the bridge, the navigation officer, which is a lovely lady actually, from the UK, and it's 11:30 midnight.
Okay. Yes, you can see land on both sides. You can see Europe and Africa on both lands. It's quite narrow actually. So and the depth. So it's not that deep. I think it's a couple of hundred meters, maybe 1,000 foot, and so it's kind of like a ledge. And when I was younger, I was very interested in geology and stuff like that. So Mediterranean was actually a lake lower than the sea level in the past, and then when the sea raised, it overflowed like a big waterfall over the Strait of Gibraltar and filled up the whole Mediterranean Sea.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Peter. Now we have the last question over here.
Hello, I'm Di from the Dallas area. And first I want to commend you for what seems like a seamless evacuation. I was watching and it was just very well done, and I commend you, because I've been on a ship where I was very sick and it wasn't handled as well. And so I just commend you for that. I'm wondering, you see a lot of movies about passengers falling overboard. Have you ever had that happen? And if that happens, what is the procedure for rescue?
So I've been lucky, it never happened while I was on board, but unfortunately it does happen. And I remember when I first came to this company, I was a young second officer, and they told me like the week before, there was a passenger that was horseplaying, balancing on the railings middle of the night, and there was nobody around. And young gentleman fell overboard. Nobody saw it. Luckily, one of the security guards, when they were doing their patrols in the middle of the night, saw that there was a blood stain on the railing, and thought, that's strange, you know, did somebody have an accident? So they reviewed the camera, and then they saw several hours after what happened. So, and then it's again required of me to do a search and rescue, which means you have to turn the ship around, and you have to estimate where that person could be, and you search for the person, and you don't stop searching until a government agency, the Maritime Rescue Coordinator, tells you that, okay, you've done your part, you're free to go. So luckily, that person, I don't know, he must, somebody must have washed over him. Middle of the night, even 3 or 4 minutes, when you have seas like this, you're gone. You don't see that person anymore. The only thing that sticks up from the water is the head. And there was a carnival ship hours behind, and they heard over the radio what was going on, so they just put on their searchlight, you know, just in case. And when they turned on the searchlight, he was there in the water. They picked him up 6 hours after he fell in the water. And these ships have been on the, I think when I was on Serenade, there was also 2 missing, but it was crew members. It was a tragedy. But luckily it doesn't happen often. But if it happens, I'm required to search for the person until I get released by a government agency.
Thank you so much, Captain. Thank you so much, Peter. And thank you so much, everybody, to come to the Captain's Corner to have this conversation. Remember, we have so many things going up next. And back here at 4 p.m. we have Love and Marriage. So I will see you over here. Thank you.